The Galactic Confederation's top explorers were always searching for new worlds. They traveled far and wide, discovering planets that held ancient secrets. But today was different. The team had just landed on a planet they thought they knew, Earth. It had been abandoned for over 500,000 years, and no one had set foot on it since humanity vanished. The planet was a mystery, its surface overgrown with dense forests, broken cities covered in vines, and the remains of human civilization buried beneath nature's reclaim. The leader of the expedition, Captain Zorlok, looked around as his team exited the ship. "Stay sharp," he said, his deep voice echoing in the stillness of the forgotten planet. "No one has been here for 500,000 years, but that doesn't mean it's safe." The crew stepped onto the soft soil, scanning the horizon. Earth seemed peaceful, almost too peaceful. The towering trees whispered in the breeze, and the sun cast a golden glow across the ruins. But something about the place felt unsettling. It wasn't just that the humans had mysteriously disappeared. It was the silence, the stillness. Earth felt like it was waiting for something. Captain, one of the crew members, a young alien named Trella, called out, "I'm picking up some strange energy readings underground." Zorlok frowned and walked over to Trella's side. "Underground? Are you sure?" he asked, looking at the scanner. The readings were strange, showing powerful energy spikes deep below the surface. Trella nodded, her eyes wide with confusion. "Yes, sir. It's faint, but there's definitely something down there. And it's active." "Active?" Zorlok repeated, now even more intrigued. Earth was supposed to be dead, a planet with no intelligent life or working technology. But these readings told a different story. He motioned to the rest of the team. "We need to investigate. Keep your guards up." As they walked through the ruins of an old human city, the team could feel the weight of history pressing down on them. Buildings that once stood tall were now crumbled into heaps of stone and metal. Statues of human leaders, once proud symbols of their dominance, were now shattered and forgotten. The streets were covered in moss, with only the occasional piece of rusted metal poking through the greenery. After hours of exploring, they came across something unexpected, a large metallic door hidden beneath layers of earth and debris. The door seemed out of place in the ruins, untouched by time. It was too clean, too smooth. Zorlok placed his hand on the surface, feeling a faint hum of energy beneath his fingertips. "This is it," he whispered. "This is what we're looking for." The crew worked quickly to clear the debris. With a few commands from Trella's console, the door slowly slid open, revealing a long, dark tunnel leading deep underground. Cold air rushed out, causing a shiver to run down Zorlok's spine. "Everyone stay close," Zorlok ordered as they moved into the tunnel. The deeper they went, the more uneasy they felt. The walls were lined with strange markings, symbols they couldn't understand. But the technology that powered the place was clearly human, yet far more advanced than anything the Confederation had ever seen. Suddenly, the tunnel opened up into a massive underground chamber. The sight that greeted them left the team speechless. In front of them were rows upon rows of massive, sleek warships untouched by time. They looked brand new, as if they had just been built yesterday. The air was filled with the low hum of energy, and the entire chamber seemed alive with hidden power. "By the stars," Trella gasped, her voice barely above a whisper. "These ships, they're still functional." Zorlok's eyes widened in disbelief. He had never seen anything like this. Earth wasn't just a ruined planet. It was hiding something far more dangerous. "This isn't just a graveyard," Zorlok said, his voice trembling with realization. "This is a hidden fleet, a fleet left behind by humans, and it's still waiting." The crew stared in awe at the massive warships, their minds racing with questions. What happened to the humans? Why had they left this fleet behind? And more importantly, who or what was it waiting for? Zorlok turned to his crew, his expression serious. "We need to report this immediately. The galaxy needs to know what we've found. Earth's secret isn't dead. It's just been sleeping." As the team prepared to leave, none of them noticed the faint flicker of lights on the control panels of the warships. Something had been triggered. Captain Zorlok and his team had just made one of the biggest discoveries in galactic history, an underground fleet of human warships that had been hidden for 500,000 years. The ships were massive, sleek, and filled with a strange power. As they stood in the enormous underground hangar, the team felt both amazed and terrified. They had come to Earth expecting nothing more than ruins, but what they found was far more dangerous than they could have imagined. "These ships are still active," Trella said, her voice trembling as she scanned the area with her equipment. "The energy readings are off the charts." Zorlok, standing at the front of the group, looked at the ships with a mixture of awe and worry. "How could this be?" he asked, shaking his head in disbelief. "Humanity disappeared 500,000 years ago. How are these ships still alive?" The question hung in the air as the team moved closer to the ships, their footsteps echoing in the vast, empty chamber. The warships seemed to hum with life, their sleek metal surfaces untouched by time. Lights blinked faintly on some of the control panels, and the low hum of energy seemed to grow louder the longer they stayed. Zorlok stepped forward cautiously, reaching out to touch one of the ships. As soon as his hand made contact, the ship's systems seemed to wake up. The quiet hum turned into a loud, steady thrum, and lights began flickering on all over the ship. The entire chamber suddenly felt alive, as if the ships were waking up from a long sleep. "Captain! Something's happening!" Trella shouted, her eyes wide with fear as she looked at her scanner. "The ships are powering up!" Zorlok stepped back quickly, his heart racing. "Everyone fall back!" he ordered. The crew scrambled to retreat, but it was too late. One by one, the ships in the hangar began to come to life. Engines roared to life. Control panels lit up, and the hangar filled with the sound of machines waking from their centuries-long slumber. "This wasn't supposed to happen," Zorlok muttered under his breath as he watched in shock. "We didn't activate anything, did we?" The truth was, no one knew what had triggered the ships. Perhaps it had been their mere presence, or maybe it was something in the old human technology that sensed they were there. Whatever the reason, the Forgotten Fleet was now fully awake, and it didn't look like it was going to stop. Trella, still glued to her scanner, gasped. "Captain, the ships, they're connecting to each other. It looks like they're syncing their systems. This is bad." "Really bad," Zorlok frowned. "What do you mean?" "They're preparing for launch," Trella said, her voice barely above a whisper. "It's like they think they're about to go to war." Zorlok's mind raced. These ships were human-made, designed for battle, and they had been dormant for 500,000 years. If they were preparing for war, who or what did they think they were fighting? There were no humans left to give them orders, and the galaxy was at peace, or so they had believed. Suddenly, alarms began blaring inside the hangar. The ground beneath them rumbled as the warship's engines kicked into high gear. Zorlok's communicator buzzed to life, and a panicked voice came through. "Captain! The ships! They're launching into space! We're detecting multiple craft leaving Earth's atmosphere." Zorlok's heart sank. This wasn't just an ancient fleet. They were warships still functioning on old human programming. And now they were leaving Earth, heading for the stars. "We have to stop them," Zorlok said, his voice steady but full of urgency. "If these ships reach the galaxy, they could start a war that no one is prepared for." Trella looked up at him, fear in her eyes. "But how, Captain? We don't even understand how they work." Zorlok clenched his fists. "We have to figure it out. Fast. These ships were built by humans, and that means there must be a way to control them. We just need to find it before it's too late." As the warships continued to power up and prepare for launch, Zorlok and his team realized the gravity of the situation. This fleet wasn't just a relic of the past. It was a sleeping giant, and now it had woken up. The galaxy had no idea what was coming. With the ships now fully awake and launching into space, the team knew they had little time left. They had to find a way to stop the fleet before it unleashed chaos on the galaxy. But as they looked around at the massive warships, they couldn't help but wonder, was this the legacy humanity had left behind? The Forgotten Fleet, once hidden in the depths of Earth, was now rising, and the galaxy would never be the same again. The news spread quickly throughout the galaxy. A fleet of massive warships had been detected leaving Earth, a planet abandoned for 500,000 years. Aliens from every corner of the galaxy were stunned. Earth was supposed to be a dead world, a place of ruins and forgotten history. No one could believe that such powerful ships still existed, hidden away for centuries beneath the planet's surface. In the grand halls of the Galactic Council, a special meeting had been called. Leaders from dozens of alien species gathered to discuss the sudden appearance of Earth's hidden war fleet. The council's chamber was filled with tension and fear as everyone tried to make sense of what was happening. At the center of the room stood High Commander Zarak, an ancient alien with sharp features and a commanding presence. He slammed his fist on the table, his eyes wide with disbelief. How could this happen? The humans have been gone for 500,000 years. Who activated those ships? The other council members murmured in agreement. They had all heard the reports, hundreds of warships, each one more advanced than anything the galaxy had ever seen, leaving Earth's atmosphere and heading for space. These ships were not the old relics they had expected. They were fully functional, and their power was terrifying. A small alien representative from the planet Lorva spoke up, her voice trembling. "We don't know who activated the fleet, Commander. Our scouts report that the ships are moving fast, but their destination is unclear. We don't know where they're going or what their purpose is." Zarak's face darkened. "This is a disaster waiting to happen. If those ships are human-made, they could destroy entire worlds. We have to stop them before they reach the core planets." Another council member, a tall reptilian alien named Vrax, leaned forward, his yellow eyes glinting with fear. "How do we even stop them? We don't know how they work, and our ships are no match for their firepower. We could be walking into a war we aren't prepared for." The room fell silent as everyone considered Vrax's words. The human warships were unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. They were sleek, deadly, and brimming with unknown technology. No one knew how powerful they really were, but the thought of facing them in battle sent chills down everyone's spine. Suddenly, a holographic screen flickered to life in the center of the chamber. A live feed from one of the scouting ships showed the human war fleet in motion. Rows upon rows of massive ships, each one glowing with energy, soared through space like a swarm of deadly birds. The sight left the entire council speechless. "They're magnificent," one alien whispered, unable to hide the awe in his voice. Zarak scowled, his sharp claws tapping against the table. "Magnificent? These ships are a threat to us all. If we don't act now, they could wipe out entire star systems. We must prepare for war." But not everyone agreed. A soft voice from the back of the room interrupted the rising tension. It belonged to Selka, an alien diplomat known for her calm demeanor. "We don't know why these ships are active," she said, standing up slowly. "It's possible they were triggered by accident. We should try to communicate with them before we assume the worst." "Communicate?" Zarak sneered. "With ancient human war machines? We'd be fools to think they would listen." Selka remained calm, her eyes steady. "We must not rush into conflict. If these ships are truly as powerful as we believe, a direct attack could provoke them. We need to understand their purpose first." The council members exchanged uneasy glances. Selka had a point. The human warships had not fired any weapons, nor had they shown signs of aggression. They were simply moving through space, heading toward an unknown destination. But the fear of what they could do weighed heavily on everyone. Zarak gritted his teeth. "Fine," he said reluctantly. "We'll send a diplomatic ship to try and communicate. But if those ships make one aggressive move, we won't hesitate to strike. The safety of the galaxy is at risk." As the council agreed on their plan, the tension in the room remained thick. No one knew what would happen next. The human fleet was a relic of a forgotten time, and its purpose was a mystery. But one thing was clear. If they couldn't find a way to stop the fleet, the entire galaxy could be in danger. Outside, in the cold expanse of space, the human warships continued their silent journey. Their sleek designs reflected the starlight as they moved in perfect formation. To the aliens watching from afar, the ships were both beautiful and terrifying, a reminder of humanity's long-lost power. As the diplomatic ship was prepared for its mission, the galaxy held its breath, waiting to see what would happen next. Would the humans' forgotten fleet bring peace or destruction? The answer was just beyond the stars. Word spread like wildfire across the galaxy. Every planet, every star system was buzzing with the same news. An ancient human war fleet had reappeared. The ships were enormous, powerful, and moving with a purpose that no one could understand. The galaxy, once peaceful, was now gripped by fear. On a distant planet in the outer rim, a group of alien traders huddled around a hollow screen. The image of the human warships filled the screen, and their faces showed nothing but shock. "I thought the humans were extinct!" one of them exclaimed, his voice shaking. "How is this possible? They vanished 500,000 years ago." Another trader, an older alien with wrinkled skin, shook his head. "I don't know," he said slowly, "but if those ships are moving, it means they still have power. And if they have power, they could destroy entire worlds." Fear was spreading fast, and not just among the common people. In the highest halls of power, leaders from countless alien species were scrambling to figure out what to do. Every government, every military force was on high alert. No one knew where the human ships were heading, or what they wanted. On the planet Var, the Supreme Chancellor, a tall alien with golden scales, addressed his people in a live broadcast. His voice was calm, but his eyes betrayed his fear. "We must remain united during this crisis," he said, his face serious. "The human fleet is a threat to the entire galaxy, and we must work together to find a solution. I have already sent ships to observe their movements, but we must be prepared for the worst." In every corner of the galaxy, similar speeches were being made. Leaders called for calm, but deep down they were all afraid. The human fleet was unlike anything they had ever seen. Their ships were technologically advanced, far beyond the capabilities of any current species. The galaxy's best military forces didn't stand a chance against such power. In a small spaceport on the moon of Draxor, a young alien mechanic named Gila watched the news with growing dread. She had heard stories about humans as a child, stories of how they had once ruled the galaxy, their technology unmatched by any other species. But those stories always ended with the same message: humans were gone, and they weren't coming back. Yet here they were, or at least their warships were. Gila's hands trembled as she wiped the grease from her fingers. "What if they're coming for us?" she whispered to herself, glancing nervously at the sky. "What if they want to destroy us all?" She wasn't alone in her fear. Throughout the galaxy, people were panicking. The streets of every major city were filled with anxious crowds. Markets were emptied as people stocked up on supplies, fearing the worst. Some even fled their homes, taking to the stars in hopes of escaping what they believed was an inevitable human invasion. On the military front, things weren't much better. Commanders and generals gathered in war rooms, staring at maps and holo displays that showed the movement of the human fleet. But no one had any answers. The warships were moving in perfect formation, heading deeper into the galaxy, but their final destination remained a mystery. One general, a grizzled alien veteran with battle scars across his face, growled in frustration. "We can't just sit here and wait for them to attack," he said, slamming his fist on the table. "We need to strike first." But the others in the room disagreed. "If we attack them, we might provoke them into launching a full-scale war," one officer warned. "We don't know what they're capable of. Attacking now could doom us all." Fear paralyzed the galaxy. No one knew what to do. Every option seemed dangerous. Every decision could lead to disaster. In the dark corners of space, criminal organizations took advantage of the chaos. Pirates raided defenseless planets, knowing that the galaxy's militaries were too distracted by the human fleet to stop them. Smugglers and black market traders made a fortune selling weapons and supplies to terrified populations. The galaxy was unraveling, and no one seemed able to stop it. Meanwhile, in the depths of space, the human fleet continued its silent march. The ships moved with purpose, their engines humming as they soared through the stars. To the outside observer, they seemed unstoppable, an ancient power, awakened after centuries of slumber, now ready to reclaim the galaxy. The fear in the galaxy grew with each passing hour. Everyone was waiting, watching, wondering what the fleet would do next. Would they attack? Would they demand control over the galaxy? Or were they simply ghosts of the past, moving without purpose? The galaxy could only hold its breath, hoping that the humans' forgotten war machines would not bring doom to them all. But deep down, everyone knew one thing: the galaxy would never be the same again. Tension gripped the galaxy as the ancient human war fleet continued its silent journey through the stars. Every day brought more uncertainty, and fear hung heavy in the air. Planets prepared for the worst, and alliances formed as leaders scrambled to protect their civilizations. But among all this chaos, something unexpected was about to happen. On a quiet day in the Galactic Council chamber, the atmosphere was tense. The Council had sent a diplomatic ship, the Peacekeeper, to attempt contact with the human fleet. Captain Ilara, a brave alien diplomat known for her quick thinking, stood at the helm of the ship. She was determined to uncover the truth behind the mysterious warships. As the Peacekeeper approached the human fleet, the crew held their breath. The massive warships loomed in front of them, majestic yet intimidating. They were unlike anything the crew had ever seen, sleek, powerful, and perfectly aligned. Ilara felt a mix of fear and awe as she gazed at the distant ships. "Prepare to transmit a message," she ordered, her voice steady despite her racing heart. We need to show them we come in peace. The crew quickly set up the communication systems. Ilara took a deep breath, her fingers hovering over the console. This is Captain Ilara of the Peacekeeper. We come in peace and seek to understand your intentions. Please respond. Silence filled the air. The crew exchanged anxious glances, their eyes darting back to the massive ships. Would the humans respond? Or would they see the Peacekeeper as a threat? Minutes felt like hours as they waited for a reply. Just as doubt began to creep in, the screen flickered to life. A holographic image appeared in front of them. The crew gasped in shock. It was a human! The human was tall and muscular, with short brown hair and piercing blue eyes. He wore a sleek uniform adorned with the symbols of a long-forgotten era. Ilara couldn't believe her eyes. This was a real human, standing before her after all this time. "Greetings, Peacekeeper," the human said, his voice steady and clear. "I am Commander Jake Thompson of the Earth Fleet. We have been in hibernation for thousands of years, but we are awake now." Ilara's heart raced. This was the moment they had all been waiting for. "Commander Thompson, why have you awakened your fleet?" she asked, her voice calm despite her excitement. Thompson's expression turned serious. "We were alerted to the state of the galaxy. Our sensors detected rising tensions and fear among the alien species. We have come to ensure that Earth remains a safe haven and that no harm comes to our planet or its allies." The crew of the Peacekeeper listened intently, their fears slowly beginning to fade. "But why now? Why after so long?" Ilara pressed, curious to understand their sudden return. Thompson sighed, looking pensive. "During our slumber, we observed the galaxy. We learned that our absence has caused fear and uncertainty. We chose to awaken and demonstrate that we are not a threat. We wish to establish peaceful relations and offer our assistance to any who seek it." Ilara couldn't believe what she was hearing. This was not the aggressive fleet everyone feared. They wanted peace. "We are relieved to hear that," she said, her voice filled with hope. "Many planets have been preparing for war against your fleet." Thompson nodded, understanding the weight of her words. "I know. Our technology is advanced and our ships are powerful. But we have no intention of waging war. We want to coexist with all species in the galaxy. We are here to protect, not destroy." Ilara felt a wave of relief wash over her. This was the message the galaxy needed to hear. "Then let us help you spread your message. The Council is eager to understand and establish relations. We can work together to ease the fears of our people." Thompson smiled, a glimmer of hope in his eyes. "That would be a start. Together we can build a bridge of trust and cooperation. The galaxy needs unity now more than ever." As the conversation continued, the crew of the Peacekeeper began to believe that peace was possible. The human fleet, once seen as a terrifying threat, was now seen as an opportunity for alliance. Ilara and Thompson discussed plans to bring their species together, sharing knowledge and resources. The news of the human message spread rapidly throughout the galaxy. In a matter of days, fear began to dissipate. Leaders from different planets reached out, eager to meet with the humans and explore the possibilities of collaboration. Hope filled the galaxy as they prepared to welcome humanity back into the fold. No longer were they the ghosts of a forgotten past. They were partners ready to embrace the future. Together, they could forge a new path, one built on trust, understanding, and shared dreams. And so, with the human fleet now a symbol of peace instead of fear, the galaxy took its first steps toward unity, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead.